Hello. I'm just going to put some grounding oil on. It's been a big morning. It's been a very big morning. I've got some oils that my acupuncturist sent with me on my trip. So they're helping. Yeah. I woke up this morning with a lot of dread, a lot of terror. Yeah, just feeling the immensity of being in a room, um, by myself. I stayed up late, did some Netflixing, still adjusting to the time shift. And just woke up, like I said, feeling just such a sense of fuck. What is what am I doing here, and how long is this? Am I gonna make it? Am I gonna make it through this 14 days? I know I will. And yet, yeah, this morning there was just such a sadness in me, feeling really so alone and so far away from my mom, who's just been such a rock and such an anchor for me during this journey, and being in this void space, this liminal space, this in between space of knowing where I've been. I'm in this void space, so I'm here and I have no idea what comes next. Um, yeah, so I had a really good chat with some sisters, a couple of my sisters. We had already had a circle call scheduled, so that was really good. I got to cry and just really express and be witnessed in my fear and my not knowing, and just acknowledging the immensity of this journey that I've been on. I feel like there's a propensity in me to just like focus on the strength and focus on the my capacity and like focus on the vision or where it is I'm heading and what it is that I feel I'm stepping into, and it's so important, I realize, to really hold that part of myself that is scared and has no idea what comes next, and to kind of hold that part of myself tenderly and lovingly. And so, yeah, I am learning to hold that part of myself, the little girl who's afraid, and the little girl, woman, me, being that just doesn't know, and that needs to be held sometimes, and be reminded that she's going to be okay, and also be reminded by friends and loved ones that I'm cared for, and that I'm not alone. Yeah, so even just showing up today to do this quarantine check-in feels like a really big edge, because I don't feel really robust. I feel really tender, and I feel really raw. And one of the reflections that I got from my sisters in the call that I was just in was a really beautiful reflection of like the courage it takes to show up vulnerably, the courage it takes to show up broken, and the courage it takes to acknowledge my my wounding or my fears or my unknown. Or thank you, Wendy. I feel your love. Yeah. Yeah, and this part of myself that is just knows she's strong, and also this part of myself that wants to be reminded, wants to be reminded by people that love me that I'm loved and that I'm not alone. And so I humbly welcome little messages while I'm in here, and little reminders, little love notes or podcasts or songs. Like this sister, Sally, thank you, sent me a beautiful song this morning, and I had a really good dance. You know, it's like literally my one of my greatest fears my whole life was being trapped. Like especially most of my adult life. You know, it's like I'm such a my energy is a very big energy, and so this feeling of being trapped has always been something that's been quite terrifying to me. And then, like I said, this morning I woke up just feeling, you know, and I put on a song that really just inspires me, and just dancing and looking at myself in the mirror and crying, and yeah, being with it, being with myself. And this whole journey, this I think it's a whole life journey, though this big journey that I've been on has been one that's been so much about trust, and trusting in these impulses, and trusting in this guidance, and trusting in my intuition, because sometimes I do shit and I say shit and I make choices and I make decisions that just don't really make sense to my logical mind, or that kind of like counterintuitive to like feeling safe and secure, which is what I really want, to feel stable and safe and secure. Yet there's this other being inside of me that she just keeps jumping, jumping into the void, keeps jumping into the unknown, and I'm at her service, really. And I don't say that as like a victim, like I'm at the service of something other than me. Like it's me, you know. I'm learning to follow. I'm learning to trust in that being inside of myself that knows, that she knows what I need. She knows why she's here. She knows why she's come to this earth. She knows that she's in service to something bigger than myself. And it's been a fucking big journey to keep on leaning in to that, you know, and keep on peeling off the layers of the ego that just want to be safe. And it's okay to want to be safe. Like I want to be safe. I want to feel supported. I want to feel stable. And again, it's like everything else, when everything else around me is crumbling or falling apart, because this is life, you know, like it is in a constant flux, it's in a constant state of change and shift, and I actually don't have control over other people or the world at large. All I really have the capacity to hold and be with and to work with is this self, this sense of self. And so trust has been it's been really big for me, and I feel like I've really had some great opportunities to lean into that. Um, yeah, one of the things that I've been was reminded of during this trip, in ceremony, I've been studying with this brother that I met up in the States, and I've been studying this altar that he's been sharing so generously with me, these teachings from the Andean cosmovision. And like first and foremost, one of the things that just really stuck when I sat in ceremony with him was like that we're here to just stand behind the prayer or stand behind the medicine. You know, it's like when we can actually get out of our own way, get out of our ego's own way, and stand behind the prayer and stand behind the medicine, because the prayer and the medicine, it's what we're all in service to. Something about that really stood out for me, because in my kind of spiritual quest, I've always, you know, gotten ahead of myself, like gotten really ahead of myself. I have that tendency to do that at times. And yeah, as I'm maturing, this lesson in humility has been really big, and that's been really challenging for me. I grew up. This was on my dad's desk growing up. I took it from my house. I never knew what humble meant when I was a kid, but I remember seeing this on my dad's desk, and it was a joke, I guess, you know, but it's been like a big journey for me to understand what it means to be humble, to be humbled by life, to be humbled by the prayers, be humbled by the medicine, to be humbled by being human. And so, yeah, these teachings around the altar, around learning to just trust in the prayers. When I talk about prayer, it's not like this dogmatic kind of church going thing. It's our intentions. It's this inner knowing that we're continuously putting out there into the universe, these intentions that we're putting out there that, we want to manifest, or these desires or these wishes that we have for ourselves. Though actually, where are these intentions or these desires coming from? And sitting and working with this new, I want to say it's like a new old understanding. It's just like a deepening of that question, I guess. How do I just continue to put the prayer in front of me, like the medicine in front of me, because there's something bigger than my small self that knows. There's like this lower mind that is just, has all of the traumas and has all of the wounds and all of the patterns and all of the programs. And then there's this higher mind, this higher self that is just like so centered and so steadfast. And it's like this prayer that we've been carrying as humans, this prayer that's ancient, an ancient prayer, an ancient prayer that our ancestors have been carrying. And here we are, like carrying this prayer, continuing to carry this prayer, and this prayer for our earth, and this prayer for humanity, and this prayer for our consciousness to keep on growing and evolving and expanding and healing the wounds that we carry. And here, as an individual, I've got my own version of those wounds that I've been carrying and just putting down as I keep on walking behind this prayer, just one step at a time. And this morning when I woke up with so much dread of like, oh my God, 12 days and this, 12 more days in this room, what am I going to fucking do? How am I going to do it? And it was just this reminder that has been my mantra these past couple of weeks. It's been my mantra to just keep on, just one day at a time, one step at a time, one step at a time, one step at a time. Hey, Rachel. And how this next 12 days in quarantine here is going to be a real practice in like literally just one day. I wake up, I've got one day. That's all I gotta make it through today. I gotta focus on today. I gotta have my practices, my conversations, my mentee, my mentor calls. Working with my projects. This experiment of coming on and sharing check-ins. Tomorrow I'll have a guest that I'll be interviewing. Though, yeah, like really just focusing one step at a time, because actually there is nothing beyond this one step. And when I kind of try and stretch my mind beyond this one step, it's like, whoa, how am I gonna get to that place? Though if I can just focus on this space, this step, this place that I stand right now, it's I can do it. I can do it. And that's life, isn't it? How often do we, I can't speak for anybody except for myself, but I'm human, and so I know how often do we get so ahead of ourselves without actually taking care of this space right here and right now. And there's something magical in that. Those of us who are spiritual questers, there's something in this be here now. It's like, yeah, it sounds really cool. Though how do we actually be here now? How do we actually be here now? And I feel like this next 12 days is an opportunity for me to really practice that, being here now with whatever is there, like with whatever is there. And again, like I'll keep referring to this moment of dread. It's like, fuck, like I felt like this animal, and I could feel this animal inside of her cage that I've felt very often. I know that feeling very well, of being this wild fucking beast and feeling like I'm trapped in this cage. And actually I think that's my mind. Like, I think the cage is the mind, and that the cage is the program, and the cage is like the habitual sense, yeah, like the habitual nature of like not knowing how this goes, though actually I fucking know how this goes, you know? I've lived long enough inside of this body. I've lived long enough inside of this being to know how it goes, you know, to know what it feels like to feel trapped inside of my cage, and what it takes to free myself, which is often presence and acceptance and allowance of what is there. Hey Diane, you want me to play the drum? Come play this song in a moment. So yeah, maybe I will sing a little song, a little prayer. This morning I wanted to sing this prayer because, you know, even though we got to do this alone, there's something about trusting that there are forces beyond our mind's comprehension that are here for us, supporting us. And since my father's passing, I can feel him. I can feel him as one of my ancestors. I can feel him when I feel so scared. Just whispering into my heart, baby, I've got you. Baby, you're going to be okay. And so I pray to the ancestors because they're real. And they've been praying for me, and they've been praying for us for eternity. And so I'm going to keep on praying to them for guidance. Grandmother, I'm praying to you. Grandfather, I'm praying to you all night long with all my heart, all night long. Grandmother Moon, I'm praying to you. Grandfather Sun, I'm praying to you all day long with all my heart, all day long. Chuna wana hey anaya wana hey ana, chuna wana hey anaya wana hey ana, chuna wana hey anaya wana hey ana, all my life with all my heart, all my life. Grandmother, I'm praying to you. Grandfather, I'm praying to you all day long with all my heart, all day long. Grandmother Moon, I'm praying to you. Grandfather Sun, I'm praying to you all day long with all my heart, all day long. Chuna wana hey anaya wana hey ana, chuna wana hey anaya wana hey ana, chuna wana hey anaya wana hey ana, all my life with all my heart, all my life. Thanks for that reminder, Diane. Yeah, singing helps center me, as does dancing, as does breathing, as does, yeah, so many tools right here that I'm having to practice. So that's all for me right now. Um, we'll see. Here I am in my hotel room. I think it's just gonna keep getting a little more interesting, and possibly my guards out there might be interested in what's going on in here. I'll take a COVID test today. And I did just order a big, like a little shopping order from the Woolworths, from the supermarket. I got some water so I can drink some spring water, and I got some special fizzy water that I like, and some special treats that might nourish me a bit more than the hotel food they're serving me up. So yeah, I'll be back tomorrow. I got Kelly Curtis, a dear sister of mine, I'll be interviewing, and she'll be sharing some of her quarantine or her lockdown experience over these past 7 months. And I've got a new moon ceremony that I'll be hosting on Saturday. It's free. I'll post it on my page if you want to come pray and dance and sing with me. Seven Sisters on Sunday. So yeah, I've got things in the calendar. It's great. It's great. If you want to have a date with me, I'm welcome dates. I welcome Zoom dates and video dates so that I don't feel so alone in here. And I'm also, I've got this. And there will be moments, and I'll share those moments because, yeah, one of my favorite songs, called Abrete Corazon, Open Your Heart. The lyrics are, to get to God, we must first learn to be human. And so I'm certainly learning to be human. There's nothing more I'd rather be. Yeah. So thank you for being here or not being here. I'm just grateful to myself for continuing to show up for myself in this journey, this unknown path that keeps on unfolding before me. Much love.